Eric Bieniemy's career takes a really interesting turn. He has been hired to be the offensive coordinator and assistant head coach for UCLA football. If you're a Bruins fan and you don't know who the hell Eric Bieniemy is, let me fill you in. Eric Bieniemy was on Kansas City staff their first couple of years of the Patrick Mahomes era, which they won 2 Super Bowls when Eric Bieniemy was part of those teams, right? And Eric Bieniemy, he called plays for Kansas City as their offensive coordinator sometimes. And that's the thing about Eric Bieniemy. Nobody knows just how good of a coach this dude truly is. Because sometimes he called plays for Kansas City, sometimes he didn't. He also could be a prodigy of Andy Reid just being around and eating off the success of him and Patrick Mahomes. But there's also been situations where Eric Bieniemy's insight and his input with the game strategy and the play calling has helped Kansas City win championships. So for Eric Bieniemy, last offseason, he wasn't able to get another head coaching gig, and he ended up becoming the offensive coordinator for the Washington Commanders, who were in a really bad situation because Ron Rivera was on the hot seat and he was trying to save his job. And Eric Bieniemy, he looked pretty decent as Washington's OC for the first half of the year, but in the second half, it just completely fell apart. And ultimately, he parted ways with Washington. He claims he wasn't fired, but everybody believes that Eric Bieniemy should be an NFL head coach right now. So the fact that he now is the assistant head coach and OC for UCLA football, this is just a big career plot twist for Eric Bieniemy that we never saw coming. And the reason why everybody believes and swears that this dude should be a head coach is because of the amount of success Kansas City had and the amount of the impact that Eric Bieniemy had on that success. But you look at what he did in Washington, it wasn't really anything special. And the fact that he's been interviewed several times by multiple NFL teams for head coach vacancies and he hasn't gotten them probably gives you reasons to suspect that he may not be he may not be the best person. He may not get along with the players or the guys on the staff. I don't know. But there's a reason why Eric Bieniemy is not an NFL head coach, and it's not the reason that he's being blackballed. All right, yeah, he's a black head coach, but DeMeco Ryans is black and he's gotten a head coaching opportunity. There's been multiple black head coaches that have gotten jobs before Eric Bieniemy. So you can't say it's racism. You can't say he's being blackballed. The dude just doesn't interview well. When he was interviewing for the New Orleans Saints head coaching job a while back, the interview lasted like 5-6 hours. He just isn't the guy that I feel is a great communicator. And it's evident with the fact that you have a lot of players who have a lot of negative things to say about Eric Bieniemy, like LaShawn McCoy. And also the fact that he can't land a head coaching interview. When you're going into these interviews, your whole goal is to sell yourself. I'm the right head coach for this job. I'm the guy who can turn your franchise around. I'm the head coach in waiting that you need to hire if you want to win the Super Bowl. For Eric Bieniemy, he can't sell himself because I don't think he's a great communicator. And when you're not a good communicator, most of the times you end up not being a good head coach because you got to be able to communicate with your coaches. You got to be able to get along with your players. And those are two things that Eric Bieniemy doesn't really have a great track record with. So Eric Bieniemy, just seeing him coaching at UCLA just took me by surprise. It has you wondering, what's next for Eric Bieniemy? Are we going to be seeing him become the head coach of a FCS program next season in college football? Like, is he going to be the head coach of a UFL team next? What's next in the interesting chapter or the interesting story of Eric Bieniemy's quest to become a head coach? Stay tuned for another episode of We'll Find Out. But in all seriousness, I really don't believe that Eric Bieniemy is head coach material. If he was head coach material, he will be one right now. So he's going to the college ranks with UCLA's new head coach, and maybe he's just better suited for being the coach at the college level than he is the NFL level. And I think that he'll more likely get a job as a head coach in college football than he will in the NFL. Colleges are a lot desperate now, so there are plenty of schools that probably will take the gamble of hiring Eric Bieniemy. This dude is a really good football mind. It's not that anybody doesn't think that he didn't have anything to do with Kansas City's success. It's just that we don't know how much of an impact he had on that success, which is what everybody's trying to evaluate. But he's going to be the OC for UCLA. They're going to be going to the Big Ten Conference, and it doesn't look like it's going to be a good year for them. But if he's a good offensive coordinator and a truly good play caller, then he has a really good opportunity to show everybody that he deserves to be a head coach. Maybe not in the NFL, but in college football. If UCLA has a really good offense or just a serviceable top 50 offense, Eric Bieniemy is going to get some head coaching opportunities. It may not be the league that he wants to, but it just seems like he just really wants to become a head coach. And if you become a head coach in the college ranks and you do good, then you're already showing everybody, hey, I have experience being a head coach on some level. I can be an NFL head coach, and that could be a way that Eric Bieniemy gets in the door as a head coach. But people make it seem like it's just a travesty what's happening to Eric Bieniemy. It's not. He doesn't do well in the interviews. There's a lot of split things said about Eric Bieniemy in terms of how good of a coach he is. So it's just, this is going to be another chapter in the story of Eric Bieniemy's journey to become a head coach in the NFL. And it's probably going to start with him doing a good job as the play caller for UCLA. If you're a Bruins fan, this is a fantastic hire. Like, he's a pretty good play caller. He wasn't the greatest play caller, but he's not a bad play caller. And I definitely do believe that with him coaching these college kids, he'll be better than what he would be in the NFL, because the level you can discipline college kids is a lot different from how you can go about disciplining and talking to NFL players.